Yeah, we're ready for that. Everything.
Live on time, on point, while Badger gets the camera set free of charge. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 208th live edition of the long time coming, high anticipated, never duplicated, often supplicated, unappreciated W program. Feature the
talk about underappreciated
talents.
You know, I often feel like this is the hour that I spend that is least productive in my entire week.
Unappreciated. Oh no, you have. I know firsthand the amount of time you waste.
Oh really?
Yes.
Name a time. Yeah, it's Mr. 30-minute nap. All right, this guy will take a 30-minute nap in any situation.
33 minute.
33, and he did it live on stream. It timed.
I did it. I did.
It was against toss and everything.
No.
Hey everybody, how you doing? What's going on? What's wrong with naps?
Sleep.
I don't know. Just a 33-minute nap seems wrong. Just doesn't seem right, you know?
Doesn't seem it.
Hey Boo, how you doing? Hey Nonstop. Hey Moose.
Unappreciated W program. Program feature Nick Stan, Penny compensated talents from William Bishop, Blake Evers, Stateful Media, Mother, Sir Ron Jack, Name, 3 people, 2 attempts, 1 dream. Broadcasting's finest train wreck. That's what you use. Corey, Media, PlayStation, YouTube, iTunes, all the other tunes available from every coast.
No way, Boo.
Back from the flu. He's back and ready for action. He is. The doc had no words for him and no concern for him.
Yeah, at all, basically.
Did confirm that no brain damage was occurred because no brain was found.
Yeah, if it was empty, there was like, this is weird. Why is there nothing in here?
Yeah. You blow in one side.
Can you show someone sleeping? I think it was against Terms of Service previously, but they might have redone it now. Mr. Tip says, hey, you two, do you know when we're allowed to take showers again? Or are we still just strictly washing our hands?
Nice.
I thought that was a good one. That was worth reading out.
Yeah, so nothing.
I've been getting yelled at all day. This is my life. I've been getting yelled at all day about not wearing a hat. You know what? Who else goes to work and gets berated about not wearing a hat?
McDonald's employees.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Construction worker.
I also sometimes not like wearing a hat. Construction workers. Hat. A hat model. Yeah. I
Queen's
guess.
Guard. A U.S. soldier, Badger.
I don't know how I feel about it. Okay. Can a man
airborne.
not wear a hat? I like the hair. Sometimes.
Someone who's certified in airborne. Yes, you get berated for not wearing your cover.
You don't know the rules, all right? There's nothing to do with
airborne. An astronaut in space.
An astronaut on a spacewalk. Hair is good today. I'm really liking the new treatment that I have. I just need to get a freaking cut, but I'm also too afraid to schedule an appointment to go to the salon because I don't want having someone cutting my hair and coughing in my mouth. You know, because when I get my hair cut out.
No, it's not even like that.
Stick that tongue out, just try to get all of the liquid in the air in my mouth. I don't know. I'm just too afraid to get a cut at this point. Honestly, I'm too afraid to go outside. Matt, thank you for the sub on this channel. I'm 51% sure you just wasted your money, nerd. Appreciate that. Can we get some 51% sure in the chat? You know, we don't monetize this channel at all. Blake, when we started this, we were supposed to be on Spotify. We were supposed to be on iTunes. We were supposed to diversify our portfolio, and we haven't done jack shit with enough about you.
They're all out on YouTube. They're out on YouTube. The ones I record.
Not me. I haven't done nothing. I haven't done any editing in this. It has not happened. I am frankly upset about the state enough about you.
The
bunch
one
of
last
laziness.
Week with
bunch of goddamn freaking 5 years we've been doing this. Now 4 years? 4 years we've been doing this. We're still not on iTunes.
Listen.
iTunes was the very first thing that you wanted to do. You were like, hey Badger, I want to do a podcast. Louder. Okay. I want to do a podcast. We're going to put it on iTunes. Do we even have an iTunes page?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, we do. I made one of those. I'd have to go look it up, but you're correct. So listen to me.
Max's dad just compared me to Beaslebrox.
I want to say yesterday that you were in your chat.
I was in my chat. You're fucking an idiot.
You're on your channel.
I was streaming on my channel. Was I in my chat?
I dipped in. It had to be for about 12 seconds.
Okay.
And Badgers_Mike tipped you, I want to say $12, $20, $25.
Something like that.
And it says, please no more abuse. And then you went on about 60 seconds of, Oh man, that's great.
Dang, JD's still ragging on you for whatever you did during your gameplay today.
Yeah, it was a public crazy ass match that I didn't want to be in, but I begrudgingly got bullied into.
Well, good. I'm glad you had fun.
Well,
I don't know whose fault it is, JD. It's my fault. It's Blake's fault. We're just lazy. We just have lots of other jobs. Blake has a family. He's a full-time streamer partially. He's doing a bunch of other BS.
I put in way more hours on stream and for stream than a lot of full-time streamers.
You genuinely actually do that. So I mean, Blake, whose fault is it that we haven't messed with the panels? Whose fault is it that we don't have the alerts for this stream? Like whose fault is it that we're not monetizing the time that we spend here appropriately? What is the purpose and end intention of Enough About You? Like whose fault is it? Both of us? Yes, 100%.
Well,
we're just not doing anything with this channel.
By the way, at the end of this, we are ready to go away. We talk for maybe, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes right afterwards.
I agree. It is the best part. Is getting to talk to you, Blake. I agree.
We want to get out of here.
That's the only reason that I'm on this channel. Okay?
Good.
I'm here for Blake. I want to hang out with Blake. I like having FaceTime with you. Have you seen my shirt today, by the way? What do you think about this?
It's a wolf.
Uh-huh.
Is he in a airborne suit?
No,
some sort of space suit?
He's just in some kind of flak vest kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's got a hollow sight and an M4. Or, I don't know.
I mean, I guess at some point you can wear some grown-up shirts instead of the shirts that you put on when you're 12. This is a grown-up shirt?
I think this is the most cringy shirt I own. He's just so mad at you. I really don't actually like this shirt very much.
Really?
I would never wear this out in public. I put this on today ironically.
Well, I mean, let's count the amount of time that you get out in public. So that it's not.
Hey, I'm mandatory stay at home right now. Okay. Actually, I haven't had a fever in multiple days, so I'm not anymore. But it's
good.
Technically, the city is don't go outside if you don't need to. Yeah,
The country
doing something ironically is still doing it. Yes. Okay.
This is great.
I love it. I wear it every day. You freaking would.
What's motivating? There's some things in the cities that are mandatory. We haven't had martial law or anything like that. But then most of this is kind of just social contract enforced, right?
Yeah, it kind of is.
I mean, it really is. It's all been.
It's like, hey, don't be an idiot. And there's still people being idiots, right? There's still people going out there on the beaches and stuff. Which I don't know. I guess as long as you stay 6 feet away from each other, is it a big deal? I'm not sure.
Right. In family clusters. So.
Right. So you're not supposed to leave your family unit kind of deal. You can cough in your sister's mouth, but you can't cough in your neighbor's mouth. Is what I understand.
So here's the thing. You and I have only kind of talked very briefly. Kind of more of a SIFTA thing about, speaking of which, about your incident. You probably talked to it about chat.
My incident?
You talked to chat about your incident where...
in the hospital?
Yeah,
or being born. Or just deciding to start streaming, or like, how can we be more specific on this?
Dr. Doof says, when I was born, neither of my parents showed up for my birth.
Why does he talk like a gremlin? He doesn't talk like that.
Yeah, Phineas and
Being
Ferb, he's the villain.
Just a fantasy. Caught in a landslide.
So you apparently got to the hospital and you fell and bonked your noggin.
No, I didn't. I fell at home. I didn't bonk my noggin. So I felt myself. No, I felt myself gonna pass out, and I got low. Was my instant reaction. I was like, okay, I'm feeling woozy. I need to get as low as I can.
You and I talked about that. When I felt that at jiu-jitsu one day, and he says, "Look, you need to lay down because you don't want to fall down."
I went to my butt first. Is instantly what I did, and then I went prone forward. But then I woke up on my back, so I don't know how that happened.
Seizures.
You're right. So I mean, the reason I know I had a seizure is because when I woke up, my neck was super sore. Like I felt like my entire body had arced. And I woke up.
Yes.
Oh God! It was like I had been doing hours of exercise with my neck, and also I lost consciousness, so that was not fun. So I woke up at night. I had a really high fever. I think it was only actually at 103 at the time, but I had a consistent fever, and I think I was really dehydrated from just sweating my ass off at night. And couldn't make a walk from my kitchen to my bathroom to get in the bathtub because I was so hot. And I was just unconscious for a bit. Woke up with my dog looking down at me with like a face I'll never forget. Annabelle was looking at me. She was like, "Are you okay, bro? Yeah. Do I need to call somebody?"
So you posted the 105.
What did you tell me? Boofy told me a lot of bullshit and I ignored it, okay?
Right.
Okay.
You posted the 105.
People lost it when I posted 105. Holy crap.
Yes.
You know what? And I didn't realize how bad 105 was. You wish. I genuinely didn't. Like, I didn't realize that 105 was emergency room time to go.
Google that. That's
I did. Yeah. People literally fucking panicked the shit out of me afterwards.
Yes.
I was freaking out. Like, 105 is brain damage level temperature.
You know what else happened?
Were you? So I slept for 12 hours. I posted that and I went to bed. And then
in that 12 hours,
people are freaking losing it, bro.
You know what else?
Were you getting phone calls about me?
Yep.
Wow.
That's right.
How much is that in Celsius? I'm not actually sure.
So I think I poked you on text the next day, and I said, "Yo."
Discord. You actually started with.
It was Discord. Yeah, we talked voice very briefly.
Well, I felt like when you were like, "Hey, ping me," I was like, "Okay, I guess I gotta call this guy."
Okay,
because you actually
messaged
me as I was waking up. Like I was awake for like 30 seconds, and you sent me a message.
That's about right.
So I was like, fine, okay. I don't know. I didn't understand the full extent of how freaked out people were at this time.
Right. You hadn't checked Twitter at that point.
No, I hadn't. I was just laying in bed.
Yeah, you called me up, and you were coughing, real bad.
Oh yeah. I could barely talk.
I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he says, "I'm okay." I said, how's your fever? And he says, "I don't have any fever anymore."
I think I was at 99 at the time. So
yeah, you said I got 99, and I said, "Okay, good. Well, you need to go out." And I think I said something like, "You need to go out to Twitter and post this post something because I'm getting called."
That's what Blake had to say to me. "Are you dying right now? Okay, I don't want to deal with this bullshit. Could you make a post on Twitter?"
Can you go post on Twitter?
And then it was like, "Yeah, I was sure." In between coughing my brains out.
Right. So Lorraine. So that happens, and then the next time we talk, or the next time I have any interaction with you is, you're sleeping doing it, which is it's your mode.
I can't open my eyes much because like bright lights hurt. I can't look at my phone. Like so I can't really communicate.
Tell me if this is true. You feel how hot your eyes are, and you want to close them.
Yeah, exactly. This is like because the heat is like right behind the eyes.
Yes, it's right behind your eyes, and it's like seeping out the cracks of your eyes forward. Right.
That's what it felt like, and that's why I didn't want to do anything but sleep. Like prone was the only position that I wanted.
And closing your eyes, there's no relief to that other than closing your eyes, which is great, which is prone for sleep, right? So the very next interaction I have with you. Okay, no. The very next interaction I have about you, again, is my mother. My mother.
Actually, let me. Okay, well, sorry, I want to interrupt this. Chat is distracting me.
Okay.
Does the UK use the metric system?
Yes.
No, they use miles per hour.
No.
Yes.
No, they're hybrid. They're hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
They're hybrid.
I learned this recently. Very confusing. Very confusing.
Because they use like stone. They're hybrid.
Very, very fucking pick one.
They both.
At least America went full ham on one. You know.
Right.
UK can't pick. All right. Anyway, sorry. So something
they'll mix.
They use miles per hour, Max. I was like.
Right, but they'll do kilos and they'll do pints.
Right.
Right.
And they do Celsius.
And pints, and they'll do liters for gasoline. Right.
Yeah.
But they do pints for beer.
Food is sold in metric, but speed of cars on the road is miles per hour.
Right. But they'll weigh themselves in stone.
It's very confusing. Anyways. NASA's using meters. I mean, we use meters over here. The military uses meters almost exclusively, as well as the 24-hour time system, and also from it does small to big for timing as well. So day, month, year.
The very next day, after our brief discussion,
we conquered so many places. It's hard to keep up.
That's right. The next interaction I get is my mother. Calling me.
Your mom? Not about me.
She says, and
your mom
this is
follows
waking
me on
me
Twitter?
up. My mom, no, well, she watches you. She keeps track of Blake's friends.
Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
So
I've
mom,
met her in person.
Yeah. So mom calls me and says,
pretty much the
Blake,
only thing I said to her was, if my dogs aren't good enough for the house, I'm not good enough for the house.
That's right. And that was for 3 years. Right. So you slept in her garage, basically.
Fucking meant it, too. I slept in the goddamn garage, right?
You did. You
the
did
dogs
great.
aren't allowed in the bed. I'm not allowed in the bed.
That's right. So then my mother calls me and says, Blake, honey, I think William is really sick. Can you call him and make sure he's okay?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And at this point, Blake's like, so the problem here is Blake is getting trickle down from my life into his life, and that's a big no-go.
Yep.
That's a big
my mom's the greatest. She's been on this show before to settle bets. I'll call her up.
That's true. We've had her on.
You remember the one where we needed a tiebreaker, and so I called her up, and she says, "Hang on a second." She calls and she says, "Hang on a second," and she puts me on hold for 30 seconds, and comes back and says, "Sorry, I was in a movie. What do you need?"
Yes, I do. I do remember this now. I felt so bad.
Yep.
God, that was so messed up. We called her during a movie, and she still answered.
I didn't know. We don't know who she was. We called her to settle a bet.
She was in a movie.
We called her. Hey, it was a would you rather thing when we did about a year's worth of would you rather.
He didn't do shit, Laureen. He didn't do. Calling me on the phone is not preventing me from Jack. He could have drove to my house.
I coulda.
He didn't. He made a phone. He just, I was fine, so it was not a big deal.
I mean, even if I'd come to the hospital to visit you,
that's like saying no. You couldn't have done because I was quarantined. Yeah, no, right. I literally couldn't have anybody. No. That's like saying that people who like my post on Twitter were helping me get better.
It's true.
One like equals one prayer.
But here's the thing: is that my mom?
I'm
so
sorry.
my mom
you know
calls
what?
me.
People who were worried about me did help. I mean, sending me nice messages, "Hey, take care of yourself, asshole," was valid. I mean, there were definitely people who helped. So
right. So my mother calls me and says, "Blake, you need to go you need to go see how William's doing. He's really sick. I'm worried about him. He posted something pretty bad on Twitter, and you need to check into it." So this is my wake up. So I wander in, and so I get up and get on the turlet. And I'm scrolling through, going, okay,
get ready to come down. You hear? Come back down to the side. We're gonna go running around.
And then I see that. So then
turlet.
I think the next interaction was Discord, and I said, "Hey man, what's going on?
Hey,
how's it going?
Ping me when you can, or something like that.
Ping me when you can, something like that. Ping when you get that. Yeah." Oops. And so I don't know.
Kitties do die if you don't like my Twitter post, Lorraine. Actually.
Yeah. Ping me when you get a chance.
If you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, ping me when you get a chance. You replied back a few minutes later. Sup.
And then I called you after that. Like I didn't wait for you to respond from sup.
Right. Sup. Yeah. And I think it was the next day. This was Thursday. I said, "Hey, you better." And I said, "Your mom wants to know." Or I said, "My mom." I said, "Are you better? My mom wants to know." And then you said, "Much better. Tell her I have the flu. COVID, no results yet."
Yeah, no results yet. Still, actually, on COVID.
And she said, "Just tell her I have it."
That sounds like something I would say. Just act like I have it. It's like you might as well. That's because that's what the doctor said. It was like, if you had COVID right now, or if you have the flu, I have the same thing to tell you. It's no different. Go home and don't talk. Don't spit in anybody's mouth. Okay, wait. Said 4 days of not having a fever to do anything.
Right.
The thing about the doctor's trip is that they were so nonchalant the entire time. Like I don't know what attitude I was expecting, but the attitude I was given was like, meh. It's just
business. Business.
We're gonna do a CT scan. You know, we're gonna X-ray your chest.
We have me and my family.
Anybody who will let me spit in their mouth, Boof, I will. It's kind of a thing for me. I keep count. 67 people I've spit in their mouth. So I mean, like, I need to get to 69.
You should.
Boof, can I spit in your mouth?
It's up on the door frame. Some people measure their kid's height.
Yeah.
He scratches a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and cross out 5.
Oh, that's really
6, 7, 8, 9.
It's a big
10.
deal for me spitting it. So like this whole COVID thing is really a problem for me because people don't like it anymore. I used to have like a 1 out of 100 retention, like a hit rate on meeting a new person. Hey, can I spit in your mouth? Some people would just be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. You should have seen this stuff at PAX-East. Like,
it was really bad.
Half of the cards we got were spit in his mouth cards. Thank you very much.
I should get special cards. I mean, so how? And you know, okay, on this subject, what about handshaking now? Are we done with handshaking?
Lots is going to change.
Right?
Lots,
like, because we kind of have to readapt because COVID could change itself, yeah? Like, it could evolve at this point and be a constant thing that's attacking the human race over and over again. It's not just that we have to get over this one COVID attack. We actually have to change our society at a very base level
we absolutely do.
To redo because of what COVID is doing to everybody.
And to that end, the week we started the stay-at-home stuff from work is, hey, stay at home from work, whatever.
Foot shaking is fine.
The family and I, we do a movie night a week, which we're going to do Terminator 2 tonight. Mm-hmm. We did Demolition Man. And in Demolition Man, they don't high five. They don't exchange fluids. They don't do anything. They go, like in high five, they go, and then they do this. They stop short, and then they do this little.
That's right. Oh, it's because Demolition Man. So Demolition Man is also the one with the clams, right?
Yes, the 3 shells.
The 3 shells, right,
yes.
right.
and
really a great movie, actually, and had a lot of commentary about future.
The toilet paper crisis.
Right.
Hit,
yeah.
And everyone's going, oh, we got to go through the 3 shells. We got to do the 3 shells.
I mean, we have to change the mythology to stop using paper and make it more, And I guess this is. What kisses on the cheeks to say hello? I know, in lots of other countries, in France, right? Like, it's very common to do kisses on the cheeks and be very
Hungary.
close.
Yes, when I took my trips to Hungary, and here's the thing, ladies, you do that, but the dudes, hey, dudes, you ready? Dudes in Hungary?
Yeah, there's a lot of male cultures out there that are much more in your face than American culture. That's one of the things that we had to kind of get over with going to the other countries is that when they talk to you, they want to be like right on your face. Like it's
bit of a close talker.
And that's super normal. It's almost discourteous not to do that. And and like these cultural things are gonna have to actually change if COVID.
Gotta tell you, I was not ready for it.
If we don't, it's as an American, you're very standoffish. Honestly, like you give like double hand distance, like pretty commonly, especially someone you don't know very well.
Yes, and unless you're crammed in there like on the subway, the general posture of American socialization is distance.
It really is, right? Like you're
100%. Which I mean,
handshakings are pretty normal. Right?
Handshaking's for sure, but it's American socialization serves us pretty well in that regard. In that, I just say, hey, American cars are pretty spacious, the roads are spacious, the sidewalks are wide
we don't like
for
each
the
other,
most
frankly.
part, right?
I guess
and socially, we like a little bit of room. In even houses next to each other, it's in the cities in San Francisco, you'll find them crammed up next to each other. You know, in Boston, in the East Coast and West Coast, you'll find them crammed up each other because of their older cities. In new cities, lots of room, lots of elbow room. Like if you look at newer cities that have just sprung up in the last, say, 10, 15 years, Dallas is a good one that is sprawling. Houston has had a big sprawl, a big sprawl. Things like Raleigh, I think, has very. If you look at new buildings in the last, say, 20, 30 years, American cities are bigger and more spread out and more car than walking, right?
Yeah.
More space than not, right?
See, I really like hugs and handshakes too. Like I think I'm very affectionate for my culture.
Guy,
actually, I really am.
Hugs.
Like, I really like hugs.
In person at PAX-East, you'll get a hug from him. You'll get from me.
Yeah, a person I've never met before, I want to hug. Like
100%. He's huggy.
I adopted that pretty early on with showing affection to people. It's a super important thing for me. You don't know when you're going to see someone again. I would rather hug you and tell you that I care about you than give you the head nod. And so that's going to be really hard for me actually to get away from that. Because that's like a part of my personality and something I enjoy, and I'm almost willing to just like whatever. Like if I get sick, I get sick. Like it's just I guess right now I'm in that. Like getting the flu was terrible. I need to get my flu vaccine. Obviously, I don't think I've ever had the flu before.
I wanted to ask you. So
do
you make a routine of getting the vaccine every year?
I've never gotten the flu vaccine. I've gotten the swine flu vaccine. When it was
for military.
Yeah, they forced a bunch of stuff. I guess they gave me flu shots sometimes actually.
They should. I mean, if they're gonna give you like all that crazy exotic stuff, they should give you the normal one that most Americans
anthrax
get.
Vaccine. I was actually looking through my paperwork the other day, and I have so many vaccines that don't mean anything anymore at this point.
Right,
they're all worn off now.
Because I mean, you go over to Afghanistan or wherever,
wherever.
that bacterium, that profile is very different than the U.S. Like some of the stuff we've wiped out over here, they have not wiped out.
Would you eat the food there, given the opportunity?
In Afghanistan?
Yeah.
I mean, if they had a McDonald's, sure.
It's meant like local food, cooked in a local oven.
I'd probably need to throw a little more fire on it than usual, but I mean, I could try some stuff.
I think it's a good idea to do so.
Yeah.
The pox shot? The
little circle, smallpox?
Yeah. Actually, that's the wrong shoulder. Sorry, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
This right here. That's a really. It's interesting that you know about that, Ali. This is a really great way to check if someone has been overseas.
100%. Yeah, or a lot of the boomer generation did. A lot of the boomers did. Yeah.
So it's a weird thing to have. Some immigrants have it as well, because when they come over, they get it as well.
My parents and grandparents, all of the adults in my life as grown up, all of them had it.
What is this called again? Smallpox. Smallpox.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Smallpox is. This vaccine is like the most terrifying vaccine, honestly, because what ends up happening is it blisters up real bad, and it's like a pustule, and it is. You don't want to have any of the pus touch anywhere else on your skin at all, because it will have more pustules, and then like you can lose eyesight from it for sure. Like if you touch it and touch your eye, you're toast. Like it's not great. Of course I do not know enough about you, Ali. But wait, of course you know about
Do this. Google the phrase. You don't have to do this, but Google the phrase smallpox twins. One got the vaccine and one didn't. And you'll see a difference.
Like really
These are twins.
Scarring?
Smallpox twins.
Oof. Man, smallpox
identical twins.
Oh my God, I see.
And
the scarring
anti-vaxxers,
is insane.
Anti-vaxxers, I'm done with your shit. I'm done putting up with your shit.
He's got so much. I mean, that's so much pus.
I hope after this thing, speaking of some of the things that are going to have to change, I hope we're going to finally be done with all this anti-vax bullshit.
I mean, if their COVID vaccine comes out, I'm first on the bus here.
Yeah, I mean,
because so there's a lot of like, it gets me sick. Well, yeah, you're gonna have an immune response to it, and
you're gonna have immune response to it. Sorry, bud.
The messed up thing about the flu is the flu itself is not that dangerous, right? Like the flu virus itself. What the flu virus does, it gets in and it injects itself into other cells and kills those cells and makes them commit apoptosis and then spreads it around. But the immunoresponse of your body is what actually is the dangerous part.
Correct.
Because what ends up happening is that your immune system goes into overdrive and starts killing itself, killing everything else around it, killing anything it sees move. Like it just starts going freaking nuts. Because that's how the human body responds to these things. That's how allergies work. Like it gives back a very extreme thing. So when you get a vaccine, you're going to have that immunoresponse, and that's what you're kind of trying to deal with a bit better, and you're trying to get the antibodies to deal with the virus better. And so
and what they do is they grow it on eggs, and they give you an inert flu virus.
So it has the little...
So your body will respond
and
produce an immunoresponse so that you have the antibodies. And it is very, very common for when you get a flu vaccine to kind of feel a little down the next couple of days because your body is responding.
You're going to get those very
antibodies.
Common responses to any bacterium or viral infection.
Yep, and that's it. And we need to, I mean, two things that need to happen, really. We need to shun anti-vaxxers, but the real root of the problem is disbelief in science. Like we need to trust in science to get us where we need to go, and trust that it brought us where we are.
I strongly agree with this, but the biggest issue with this is just Hideo Kojima's commentary on this. Again, like it comes to my mind all the time, is the amount of misinformation that exists causes this issue. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, at one point we had, is it Metal Gear Solid 2?
I think it was 3.
3? Where he made the commentary about the information surplus that causes you to be able to believe scientifically whatever you want. Like whatever you want, you can find scientific basis for it effectively. So it was about the AI taking over the information and feeding us the actual information and disallowing us from having our own information. It was super amazing commentary for when it came out.
Metal Gear Solid 2.
It was 2.
I think you're right. It was 2.
It was one of the younger ones.
Talking about echo chamber. This and Metal Gear Solid 2 was released in 2001. That's right. And Kojima was forecasting a full 15 years in the future, going, this is what's going to happen, where we're going to find our way into our own echo chambers because of technology. and we're gonna get confirmation bias on with our little groups, and we're only gonna fit in our groups, and that's not allowing objective ideas to be subject to outside scrutiny and outside ideas.
Right.
And it's going to spiral into some really, really bad and dangerous ideas.
So this is the issue with, believing in science. We don't really have a centralized news system that we can trust anymore. I think at one point we did, right? Like, we trusted the newspaper. The newspaper was there not so much to make money, but to actually do reporting on things. And then it kind of became not even about truth anymore and more about clicks. And then this is why I see the current generations not latching on to news organizations anymore, but now latching on to individuals who they trust.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So individual YouTubers, individual content creators out there, they trust their commentary a lot more than they trust a organization's commentary because of the perspective that the organization is only interested in making money, which is effectively true. Whether the organization really cares about that or not, it kind of always looks that way regardless. And so the active actors thing is a function of that, I think, where these people latch on to whatever information. It doesn't matter. And the people who are feeding them, they don't give a crap as long as they're clicking on it.
Right. And so two things to what you said. One, I've had my viewers come to me and say, Clown, I need you to help me make sense of this. And that's a big responsibility. Wow. Like, hey, I came here for some sober discussion on this, some reasonable discussion and some information. Can you help me? That's a big burden.
That is a huge burden, honestly.
And I am a teensy little fish in this giant pond, and we got people coming to me,
and they've built a rapport with you, right? That's why it matters. They really care about what you think.
And two, the other thing that we have done is we do not. I guess we need to teach this. Maybe it's more in schools, but we do not teach critical thinking, right? We do not teach on how to be able to refine an idea and stand up to criticism and welcome challenging ideas and all of that skill. We don't know how to evaluate risk very well, which is kind of a scientific type of thing.
That's a tough thing.
We don't also like to subject our ideas to scrutiny or teach how to do critical thinking. And one of the things that I latched on very quickly to because Badger is he has a few values that he holds on, but he will absolutely chop them down if it makes sense to do something else.
I try. I think everyone should always have to try to do that. It's a really hard thing to do, but
and the same thing with me. And the same thing with me. Like you saw it. It's your goddamn hair.
I didn't know that.
It's your hair. Badger, cut your hair. I hate it. And he comes back with, it gets me viewers. And I say, leave your hair.
There's a lot more to that than just, sure. Yeah.
In a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah, in a nutshell, sure.
That is the argument.
Why am I doing this thing? Because of this, Blake. Okay,
because
actually,
of this
I
thing?
See that. Well, I see what the rationale is.
Good. Underneath, keep your hair.
On that. Yeah, and there's a lot of things I've turned around on, honestly, with streaming. So critical thinking is what this is about. Like, how are you, in when someone comes to you with something, how are you evaluating that thing? Like, what is the process that you go through to determine if that's truth or not? And is that a skill that you can teach? Is that a skill that needs to slowly be learned with experience? Is there
other thing?
Is it like a scientific method where, like, here's how you do critical thinking?
Yes.
Is it?
I was taught in school the scientific method, right? We did a test on the scientific method and how to do observations and all of those postulates and all that. It was in a science class, and they said, "Here's a scientific method, and this is what a theory is. This is what a law is. This is experimentation. These are facts. This is observable facts versus the other fact, observations, and how to do a scientific fact and how to do your conclusions. All of that stuff I was taught multiple times. I want to say there was a first grade version, like a fourth grade version, a seventh grade version, and a high school version of the scientific method.
The scientific method is super good, right? Like, the scientific method is the methodology that scientists use in order to actually create data, right?
Yeah.
Because the difference between science and messing around is writing it down. That's my policy.
Is writing it down
on science.
If you're goofing a boot.
If you're goofing a boot, right? So if you're not doing the scientific method, I mean, the scientific method is really great to apply to everything, I guess.
Right.
Is that
the other thing that adds to this? The emotional part of it is the esteem movement. Is wanting to be the best, and he's never wrong. And my little Johnny is such an angel, and
that
he
happens
can never
with age as well. I think as people get older, they're less and less willing to be wrong. They want to be wrong less. And I think that's even I honestly think that's an older generation problem more often than the younger generation as well.
At the ends of the spectrum, we have a new generation of folks who have of kids and or quote millennials with a hey man, I'm the greatest. I can do anything if I just believe. And then they get out there at work and they get fired, and their whole world is shaken, right? Which is the same thing. It's like my idea is I'm the best and I can do this thing, and then you get your first someone like Wes dude. There was somebody Wes needed to correct at his job, and Wes corrected him. And this guy says, no one has ever talked to me that way, ever. This guy goes to work as a professional, a white collar professional, and no one has.
Such a difference from my experience.
And Wes was correcting him in private, right?
Oh, good.
And correcting him in private and saying, here's what you need to do. And this guy's like, no one has ever corrected me that way. There is a generation who has never really been corrected. And so put your emotion about your opinion or your view of yourself and your view of your idea and your view of your life direction and all of those. If you're not willing to accept scrutiny, accept scrutiny and critical thought into those, you're in for a bad time. Like you're in for a rude awakening in some way.
Dude, this is one of the topics I wanted to discuss recently, was the ability to even take feedback. Actually, I've discussed a little bit about how I give feedback, and I find that I'm quite unwilling to give feedback often. Just as a generalization, usually I don't give feedback to people. If you do something wrong, very often I won't correct. So like, now let's just use Twitch streaming as an example. So
True.
Yeah. So
true.
If I'm in a random stream and they have a poor audio quality, I won't say anything. Even though I know that their audio quality is poor, I won't come to them and say, hey, this is how you can fix your audio quality, this is how you can work on things. I don't do that.
If they ask, look out.
Yeah, that's a big difference. So I used to have actually a channel reward where I would review your channel.
Yeah.
And that was a really fun thing to do because it's no longer unsolicited. I guess I just have an issue with unsolicited feedback.
Right.
I think I have trouble taking feedback as well, especially when it's unsolicited. Or depending on the environment. So like if someone gives me feedback in chat, I always take it with a grain of salt. A lot of the time, like a big honker grain of salt, like a big lick of salt, because I feel like
my salt block.
I guess it's it's such a tough thing to take and give feedback, really. Because if I give you feedback, I really give a crap about you. I'll tell you that right now. Okay.
100%.
That really means a lot.
I mean, hey, the shit you get on me for, there is no way. I don't see you doing that to anybody else.
You're never gonna see me give feedback to anybody. It's not gonna happen.
Right. Well, you give it to me all the time. Like, hey, why are you so bad?
Oh, I mean, at the start of today, I gave both of us some feedback. It's just been on my mind recently.
Right.
For this.
But
I suppose that was
saying,
just as much for me, honestly, for that.
It is. But I mean, even that, when I'm doing something dumb in my stream, okay, like not having chatty on my screen. Like you're all up in my ass about not having chat.
I do push you on that. Yeah, you're right. And I'm willing to do so because I know we have a good rapport. The reality is that Blake and I have gone through tough times and gotten through them. And so that means that if we get into a tough time again, it's not a big deal. We'll handle it. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he will take the feedback that if he's muted, you need to tell him.
Yeah, please do tell me that. Yeah.
Please do tell me. That's solicited. Please tell me if I'm muted.
So JD, I correct people, but they tend to get upset because I'm short to the point. So I would identify that as a inability to communicate effectively. Like I would say that you shouldn't be proud of being shortened to the point. You should be able to work with a person's emotions and feelings and correct them in such a way that's not going to that's the entire purpose of feedback, is to help someone. So if you're specifically going forward and correcting someone in a way that you know is not effective, that's purposeless, right? So that's why I don't like giving feedback so much, because it is so insanely difficult to give feedback and actually have it be effective and not sour a relationship. There's like such a thin line to tightrope on to really try to help somebody, genuinely help them, have a conversation in a positive way, and it ended up actually improving them, based on their attitude and how you approach things and your personal skills.
Yeah,
that's the way to meet streamers, to tell them their mic is muted. Good way to start a conversation. I hate when people do that to me. Someone tells me my mic's muted and it's not.
That's right.
I have a hard time giving feedback because I'm not willing to take the gamble of whether it's met with negativity or positivity. Exacta freaking mundo.
Exactly. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, Mirkrix, I agree. I think everyone is pretty much agreeing that this COVID thing is going to be a generation defining event where things are different now.
Agree.
They are. It's going to be it's going to be species defining, possibly, depending on how serious this gets. Like, there's a flip whether we get a vaccine and everything is fine, or we can never vaccinate for this. This is a flu virus. It's going to continue adapting constantly, and it's extremely viral. And that's all there is to it, right? So,
that's right.
Like, you're just going to keep getting sick with this really bad flu virus over and over again until your lungs are scarred and you can't fight against it anymore, and then you fucking die. So we have to change our culture, guys. And
we do have to change our culture.
I guess I hate it. I don't want to not shake people's hands, man. It sucks.
Well, we hate it, but this is really gonna fix a lot of stuff that is gonna force fix a lot of stuff that we've needed to fix for a long time.
And I suppose so. Like these issues are only gonna get worse because if we break it down and we let's not give into the conspiracy theory that China did this on purpose. Okay, I don't want to go there. This virus manifested itself because of a petri dish of human beings that it got in contact with and developed it in such a way that
there's no evidence that there's malicious intent here.
I think it's kind of hard to go there. So
most experts agree.
It's going to happen again, right? Like, we're going to have more COVID. Like, there's going to be more things that develop as population density increases, because we've been doing it for a very long time now, hundreds of years, where we've been where we used to be super spread out, and suddenly all the population of the planet lives in urban areas. Very few people live in suburban areas now. So we're all getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer in larger and larger and larger populations, which is what you would do in a petri dish to develop bacterium, which you would use to develop the viruses, right? That's how you would do it if you were a scientist developing these things. We've done it naturally on the face of the planet, right?
And so the theory was in the 90s, when the internet was kind of coming on and we were going through the dial-up phase, and then we got DSL, and then we're going, okay, we're being able to send video and all of this and telecommunicate and do screen sharing. And we're going, this is going to change everything, because now you can kind of work from wherever. So one of the predictions in the late 90s, it was about 20 years ago, one of the predictions was...
It's interesting that some employers, this is their first experience with this as well.
Yes.
Before they were like, oh no, you can't work from home. You can't do your job from home. And then now...
Well, we got to figure it out, right? So one of the things was, the predictions was that cities are going to empty in a technologically... one of the predictions was 20 years ago was that cities will now empty. It's going to find it hard for cities to be kind of viable without so many people, because they're going to say, why? I can do my entire job in Kansas.
Right.
Why would I want to pay New York prices?
It's way cheaper there. The air quality is a lot higher. I can be in nature.
I can be next to my family, and I can work.
A smaller group of people, still do my job with high efficacy. Why would I not do that?
Right. And the opposite has happened. City populations have only increased in their growth. The opposite has happened. So it's a crazy phenomenon. Like we're for some reason we're still more connected than ever, right? I can basically do my job with this.
It's pretty strong, right? Like
this is a amazingly, probably 80% of my job and my decisions and the communication I need to do, I can probably do with this. It'd be tough on my presentations and all of that, but I could do it with this and probably my headset. I could probably do my job, right?
Yeah, telecommunications, right? That's OP.
Right, but at the same time, there is there's more people. There's people that in the last 20 years, New York has gone on an exponential scale. So have most of the major cities. Yeah, the city growth has. They thought in 20 years, cities are going to empty out. We're not going to have enough people to support all these buildings. Like it's going to go. No. The opposit's happening.
Interesting.
People are just kind of attracted to
now might be
each
a changing
other.
Moment here. Well, there's a lot of amenities you get in a city, right? That you won't get out in the countryside.
Don't need a car.
People
I can just walk everywhere.
You can just walk everywhere. Urban life is really attractive.
Public transportation's there. I got my. I can take cab. I can Uber everywhere.
I worry about the commentary for the environment getting better over such a short period of time. I feel like it's, and I know there's been a lot of, the dolphins are coming back, the water quality is improving, the air quality is improving, and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I would like to give that a little bit more time before you start making any, estimations or opinions on that.
Right.
Certainly, there has been a lot less people walking around and doing stuff, but I don't know that the environment can just get better in a week, 2 weeks. Like I think the damage we've done is a little bit more serious than brushing it off in 3 weeks.
Same thing happened on 9/11. They thought that the Earth apparently dropped a demonstrable amount of degrees. I think because all the air traffic went down. It stopped. And the pollutants from air traffic and some other things that just stopped, the air cleaned up very quickly. And it's not as prolonged as this thing is. So it may be interesting. We have better data now than we did in 2001 and better measuring techniques. So I'm interested to see the long-term effects of just stopping everything for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is, right?
Yes, I think that's my contest there. It shows that we can help make the environment better. We just haven't.
But
we really don't, right? Like, we genuinely don't give a crap about the environment. Like, most countries don't recycle, right? Like, China stopped recycling. United States no longer recycles at all, period. I don't think there's any major countries in the world that are doing recycling still. They're all just doing
Europe
landfills.
Does.
I don't think so, because the only facilities that were doing recycling were in China, and China has stopped doing recycling. I don't think
Europe does.
I don't think there exist facilities. So, like, there's recycle bins, and you throw the recycling into the bin, and that bin goes into the landfill, and that's it. Because there needs to be a process. Like, so think of a aluminum can. What is the process for cleaning the aluminum can? Cutting it open, actually cleaning it on the inside, and then actually melting it down. Is there facilities?
You can melt it down.
Well,
you can melt it down with the Coke in it.
You don't want to have the impurities. You actually need to clean the glass bottles. You need to clean the aluminum. You need to have people work on all this stuff. Right, so they China stopped importing stuff, but they still do the recycling themselves. Is that what's going on? Because I know the United States does no recycling at all. We have the recycle bins, we have this recycle stuff set up. I strongly agree that we don't do shit for the environment. Like, if it's not economically sound, then we're not doing it anymore. So when you're so good at recycling, they input trash from other countries. Do they really? I call BS on that.
No.
The amount that they import must be so incredibly small, because Sweden is not a big country. It must be so minute. China was recycling, but they stopped because there's so much waste product was ending up in the recycling pipes, so they stopped importing recycling goods. From Norway and UK, they import stuff. I bet it's incredibly small, the amount. My point is that most of the world is not doing anything to recycle the goods that they use, and they're still using landfills, even though we have the recycling techniques available. I don't think that humanity as an organization, like as a group, has made any real efforts to try to save the planet from being polluted. Metals and glasses
from August, it says the U.S. recycling industry is struggling to figure out a future. The U.S. used to send a lot of its plastic waste to China to get recycled, but last year, so 2018, China put the kibosh on imports of the world's waste, so they don't do it anymore. We ship it all to China.
Right. Yeah. So since we're not allowed to ship to China anymore for them to do the recycling, it's too expensive to have recycling plants in the U.S. and pay U.S. workers to do so. So we just throw it in the landfill again. It feels bad, man. Apparently Sweden is doing really well. Chad's saying 99%.
The U.S. has a recycling problem. Recycling the U.S. There's no law. There you go.
So and that means that the South America is going to have the same recycling issue. All of the everything on our side of the world doesn't have a recycling system. We were shipping it to China previously. China might be doing some recycling of their own, but obviously it wasn't very effective for them to do so.
Yeah, it's hard.
Recycle is good, but hard, isn't it? Yeah, apparently it's very difficult to do. I think it's a cleaning factor. Like the amount of time and waste that's produced by cleaning glass is very high. Cleaning the metal, getting it all done, and then the employees that you have to have.
Yeah.
Most of these recycle or burn. That's interesting, Logi. Yeah, I think so. Yes. Sweden seems to be doing at least something about it. That's nice. At least we have a model.
Yeah, that's one that needs to change too. Is we need to figure that out. But the good part is we can kind of stop things or slow things, and
just by staying home, apparently.
We can do some good. It helps.
But that worries me at the same time, because when we're staying home, not traveling anymore, how many industries on the planet are based on consumer travel?
Tons.
50%? More than 50%?
Tons.
And just just on travel, right? Like just going to a restaurant.
Think about the businesses. Oh my God. Okay, you got a pee-pee. Think about the businesses around the convention center. Hey, Glerms, Think about the businesses around the convention center that would disappear tomorrow if the convention center shut down. Because when we went to PAX-East, there was some high rent right around that PAX-East, right? And Glurms is a tour guide. We had a bunch of conversations about Glurms being a tour guide. He's got nothing the next months, right? And we'll just think about a basketball arena with the vendors, the beer sales that go into it, the food sales that go into it, the hotels around it, the restaurants around it, the parking around it, the flights in and the flights out to go see the basketball game, all of those things, all of the merch, the shirts, all of those things associated with one basketball game, right? Or one basketball arena. So multiply, here he goes. Multiply all of those things that center around any type of convention center, all the merch, the food, the beer that sells, the workers, all of those things over, say, one basketball arena or one PAX-East.
Yeah.
Like we saw so much.
Millions of dollars. South by Southwest, $265 million for Austin.
Boom, gone, vaporized.
And people plan their entire savings for the year around this event, right?
Yes.
Like the bartender who works at a location nearby is taking low pay because he's like, okay, but when South by Southwest comes by, I'll get a lot of tips.
I'll make it all back up, right?
So he's like going into debt with the intention of participating in South by Southwest, and then when it doesn't come, there's and on top of that, the delivery truck driver, I mean, it goes all the way back down the chain, right? The delivery truck driver who's supposed to make a shipment to South by Southwest for the food and stuff that they were going to need is no longer making that shipment anymore. He doesn't have a job. He can't pay his rent, right? And the economical impact of not traveling and not going outside is going to be
giant,
far-reaching for a long time, I think. I would say right now is a great time to start streaming for a couple reasons. One, your mental health will probably be improved a little bit by being able to do some social activity. And there's about a 20% viewer increase on Twitch right now and on other platforms. Yeah, there's a big spike. But in 1 month, 30 days from now, the amount of income that streamers are going to be getting, the amount of income that entertainers are going to be giving is going to be at an all-time low because they are a string that is attached to the current world economy, and they are going to take a big fucking hit, okay?
Yeah.
They are the first one to get cut, all right? People are not cutting their mortgage. People are not cutting their car payment. They're not cutting their insurance.
Nor should they.
Nor should they. They should cut their freaking Twitch sub, and they are going to. So strap the frick in. If you're living paycheck to paycheck right now on Twitch, you need to get a job at HEB. You need to get a job at Walmart because it's not going to work out. Like it's there's been a big increase right now, but I'm super, super afraid for all my friends here on Twitch. I'm super afraid for every content creator out there because it's not just going to be direct monies. It's going to be people who are not going to be selling product anymore. They're not going to want to pay you the same CPM on YouTube. Okay, because it's not as effective.
Agreed.
People are not going to be buying stuff. It's going to be a depression because of this. All right, that is
rough.
the far-reaching effect of the environment improving right now, which is great. But the reality is that these trucks that aren't running, that are improving the environment, are putting people onto the streets and homeless.
Yes, 100%. So here's what we talked about in Hey Clown, can you make sense of this? And the reality is that. So we all talked about flattening the curve, right? It's the big spike of cases that we can't handle. But flattening out the curve means more of this. And not flattening the curve means death and loss of life.
Right. I think there's an obvious choice, right?
Flattening out the curve means loss of economy.
Which is going to lead to lots of different impacts.
Lots of things, but also lots of life because poor people die. Poor people and unemployed people die quicker. They have a shorter lifespan than wealthy people. It's demonstrable. Like the Census Bureau. And I've got my Census Bureau right here. They've only sent me 3 notes to tell me to do my thing. The poor people live less long than wealthy people. And
it's hard to say. This is a good point, really. Like what will the loss of life be at the end of the day, depending on how we shut things down? Would it have been better
that's why you'll see Trump going, "Hey, we got to keep this engine running." And I get what he's saying. Like we need to get back to work because if we go too far down the road of shut-in, the money's going to dry up and we're going to be in a worse spot. I get that justification, and we may end up having more loss of life if the money if it goes all in it, because Trump is kind of going against doctors. Well, Trump's crazy, right? But he's going against doctors' orders and going, hey, his aspirational goal is let's get this done, and what do we got to do to get this done, get people back to work? But he's saying it all crazy. He doesn't do himself any favors. But it is exactly a trade-off between the steep curve, which is loss of life, and the slow curve, which is loss of economy and maybe future life, something. Right, Logi. So that's the near term versus long term. How long do we?
This is going to be a conversation for economists.
Yeah.
In like 10 years from now as well. They're still going to be debating the impact looking at the statistics and what the route should have been.
And when should we have got back to work to save the most lives? Right. So
that's going to be the debate. Yeah.
Right. That's going to be it. And so several years later, they'll look back on this time and going, did they make the right decision? Yes or no? Is when do we go back? When do we get back to it?
that critical thinking there to be the game show host. There's going to be a spike of demand when people are allowed to practice social closeness. I don't know if I agree though. I think that the mental impact on people is going to last a little bit longer.
Yes.
Than just it's okay now, you can come back out.
I agree.
No, fuck that. No, I'm not. I don't want to get COVID. I'm going to start practicing different. I've really taken this washing hand things very seriously, the social distancing very seriously, because I think this is a big impact. So I don't know that the planet will ever be the same. I don't agree. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll get over it and it'll be totally normal to go to the bar again and be super close to a ton of different people. But I think that especially the younger generation right now who's going through this is going to have a lifetime impact from this virus. It's going to change the way that they go forward and do things.
Yeah, and think about so when we do return to work, think about the jobs now that will 100% have gloves on every time. The jobs that you used to just do with your hands will now have gloves. They may even have a full face shield. You may have required PPE that will
work in a supermarket.
Was never required, but it's not required because of a safety issue. Like you don't have sparks flying in your face or something like that. It's because of germs. That's
it. And it's not even gonna be company pressure as much as societal pressure to do that thing.
Yes,
and that's super powerful. It's way more impactful.
It's huge, powerful. Now, so think about this. Like most of the U.S.,
that's crazy, Zen.
The city and state and local officials have mandated. Some of them have said close everything, right? Some of them say only these essential workers, which is funny that booze, liquor stores are on the essential list.
For good reason. People,
100,
you don't want to cause riots,
ago,
right?
Exactly 100 years ago in 1920, it was liquor is bad, we're closing down.
Yeah, you're right.
100 years in the future,
freaking states can't make up their mind. We love drugs. We hate drugs. Drugs. I know.
Essential services, right? So think about the number of just basic things of you're now going to wear gloves when you step onto the line. Just not maybe not even a face shield, but certainly gloves, because you know what your number one viral transmission appendages are? These 10 things right here.
These grabbers.
Especially these two right here.
These little
your
touchy
typers
boys.
and your pickers and your scratchers, right?
And this is why I like to see wash your hands accompanied with don't touch your face, please. Don't touch your mucous membranes. That's the thing. If you have a cut in your hand, don't even breathe.
Don't even breathe.
Just like it's poking yourself in the eye, really. This is the big one. The eye and then the nose. You guys messing with those. And it's super natural for a lot of people just to do that.
And so, I mean, I would be surprised if my job, I sit at a cube, I'm on calls all day. I type to my friends, my employees, my superiors, my internal customers. I think for a white collar worker, you're not on the line, you're doing stuff. I think it's even going to change for a white collar worker. We already have kind of a community area we can go get wipes. The desk wipes that wipe down our stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think it's now going to be standard issue.
Right.
I think it's going to be gloves that they're going to issue us and a container of those wipes that we're going to have to wipe it down every day.
Zoom meetings.
100%.
I think a lot of jobs are going to change. And I think that the societal pressure to be more cleanly is going to be a thing for at least a while.
Yes.
I'm more concerned about the forever impact on the younger generation that is seeing this and, is very afraid. I think there's a lot of people who were like beyond terrified.
who said earlier, new generation of germaphobes. That's right.
Yeah.
I agree. New generation. There's lots of germaphobes out there now that can't take it. Guess what? You just multiplied their numbers by 20 times.
There are dozens of us, dozens, right? Like that's a real thing, and I think I've been impacted by this as well. I mean, I thought I was afraid that I was going to have permanent respiratory damage from this deal. Luckily, I just had a normal flu and I'm fine.
Yeah,
I didn't. My white blood cell count was fine. I didn't have any bacterial infection at all.
Right.
If I had waited 2 more days,
another thing. So think of societal pressure is so interesting right now. This is what's really going to be measured, because what the state and local and national officials are really not putting down martial law.
It's the Humies. It's the people are saying, hey,
it's societal pressure.
I do not want to get sick. And there's I guess what's interesting is Twitter has had a pretty big.
It's a big
ride
impact
on this, right? They have kind of been. Usually, there's like two sides a lot, and I think there's a lot less. COVID's not a big deal on this, right?
Agreed.
There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of, hey, we're freaking out too much. Hey, this is not a lot.
Yeah.
But
I had one stream of that. And then someone sent me an article, and I read it, and I went, oh. No! I need to help get the word out. Well, so I turned now into a soldier for clean. Let's talk about this. Yeah.
I really just read WHO, World Health Organization, and they're a little bit sporadic. And they have some things to say. I guess it's really interesting to see what's gone on with Twitter and how Twitter has really rallied on a single side and not really given a crap about. We need to do more, not less, is kind of the thing on there, and that's a big thing.
Yeah. So we talked about social distancing and the curve, and we looked at models and all of that. But I broke that down. And by the way, you'll be interested to know, I did that for my work too. I went out on a limb. I have bi-monthly meetings, so twice a month, where I host talk about Microsoft and the direction. We talk about issues that we've had, and we do things. And I facilitate a meeting. It's like 50 people in there, and I'm kind of their spiritual leader. I'm functional and spiritual leader about what we're doing with this technology. And we did a recording. We did our instance updates, and we did our some of the things coming up. And we did, okay, here's our downtime. And then I said, okay, I'm going to stop the recording. And those of you who want to disconnect, you can. But I'm going to break some stuff down about safety and all of that for you. And no one told me to do it.
Okay, nice.
But I did it for my team before that. And I said, look, here's what we're going to do. And so I broke down, what does flatten the curve mean? This is what we're doing. So we had two curves.
Right.
And then the flat curve, and then there's a line in between there that says the medical
capacity.
The medical capacity.
I would like you to keep in mind that this curve is conceptual, not accurate, right? Correct. So like the actual capacity and stuff like that. This is all.
Oh my goodness! Hey Neelas, what's up, man?
Hey Neelas, yo, thanks for that raid. Appreciate it very much.
Hee-hee-row.
Hey Raiders, how you doing? Right now we're talking about COVID. If you're into that, you can stick around. If you don't want to hear about it, I don't freaking blame you.
So there's a conceptual curve, and I said, and I just kind of broke it down for my team, which was I dragged all 18 people on my extended staff in there, and we said that, and then I grabbed a few of them afterwards.
Much better.
Look, Neelas follows you on Twitter
also. Yeah, apparently does. Yeah. I was dying, man. He's dying. Doing much better. I haven't coughed only a couple times so far.
So I broke down the whole flattening the curve thing. We did those models. Remember the models we looked at last time, and all of those things, social distancing,
and the curve. If you guys missed it last time, actually, it was really good to look at the models. You should go if you're on the fence about the social distancing thing. Still, those the bouncing dots will definitely show you what's freaking going on with social distancing.
And
very effective.
Again, it is conceptual, but I showed that thing from the New York Times to my team, and then they said, okay, good. And then we broke, and then I did it for the broader audience, for 50 people at my organization. And my big thing was, look, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just one of the business leaders here.
Kind of echoing, right? Like
echoing.
This is what it looks like.
And I just said, for a long time, I was on the fence about what we should do about this. I thought it was no big deal. This sort of stuff convinced me. It was like 2 days worth of, what the hell, And then I went, oh, okay, I get it now. And then what happened is the physical results in Italy. Like, you can't trust anything in China. China inflates numbers.
So
Donald Trump, don't trust China.
China asshole. It sucks to be able to trust China because they're the epicenter for this, and getting the statistics there would be very effective, but we just can't.
They've done nothing in the last 20 years to make anyone trust them.
It's so hard to trust them. But Italy, right? Like,
Italy was
the virility.
Seeing what happened, and so quick.
Fast.
And they had no measures in place, and it went from bad to worse. And the death toll went to 7%. I think it was like 6 or
Right.
7%, up from 2.5%.
Italy had
Because
such a
triage, right? Because if the hospital beds are overwhelmed,
Yeah.
you don't have enough. Now the doctor
triage
has
sucks.
to
I just touched my face. Great.
I know. Well, the doctor has one bed, and he has to make a decision
On-
whether I'm going to give it to the 40-year-old with severe COVID or the 80-year-old with severe COVID.
Okay, who do you think he's
And
going to
you
pick,
go-
chat? Right?
Yeah. Who do you think he's going to pick?
So it's triage is brutal.
It's brutal.
Who is
It
more likely to
by
survive?
the
Who really
numbers.
needs this? Right? Ugh.
Yes, and it is as close to what is close to AI as you can get. Because here's the thing: the doctor, and this is what I was going to talk to you. This is why the doctor gave you such a non-emotional response. Their business as usual, because a doctor has to basically tell the 80-year-old, "Go home and die and do your best."
Right.
I'm going to treat the 40-year-old
because I'm more likely
this
to save
person
him.
has a better chance to live, and even if they're equal, I can preserve you for 5 more years. I'm going to get 45 more years out of the 40-year-old.
A lot of good commentary in chat right now. Italy does have a higher population of older people, and that's why we saw the death spike in that way, and why we saw the overload so badly. Because this thing kicks older people's ass. Like it is super flipping bad for older people.
Yes. So this is that is the decision. And here's the thing:
9 hours is insane.
Now listen to this. Now the doctor has to make that decision and basically all day and sentence an 80-year-old person to go home and basically do your best. I cannot help you. And then turn right around and walk into William's room and treat William.
Right. And just be,
this
is why they're so nonchalant.
30 seconds ago from having to make that decision has to come into William's room and go, okay, fever, no shortness of breath. You have high fever and you have aches and pains. You have shortness of breath. No, okay, we're good.
I asked that so many times. Is fever saying shortness of breath?
Right. And all of that, and has to be basically an AI in front of William. And treat William to the best of his or her ability.
This is, I really hope that doctors out there who are going through this right now get some help with their mental health going forward. Because
doctors lead all statistics and professions of suicide, depression, alcoholism, and street drugs.
I freaking wonder why. How many times have you chosen to end someone's life? Hopefully 0.
0.0.
So Loopy, if you could DM me stats on children, because I've heard that children are unaffected by this.
Asymptomatic for the most. Okay, there's a couple of cases, but in the vast majority, in the high 90s, children are asymptomatic.
DM me, the info on that, because we only have the information that we've provided. So, but from every medical professional that I've heard talk about it, they've said that children are just not affected. And
also the information that came out from Fauci this week is that men are more targeted for some reason.
Men who are smokers
could be risk factors.
Yeah, it's likely risk factors, and anything that is affecting your lungs is going to cause problems, because
probably higher smoking
rates is. But then they said, God, I wish we could trust the numbers from China, because China said smoking wasn't a problem. Yeah. Women will inherit the world, except for when you guys get beat to death by us.
Yeah, or
more likely to die as a woman from your significant other than any other circumstance.
That's right.
And that's reality, girls. Okay,
that's reality, man.
That's what ends up happening to you all.
High blood pressure, all that other good stuff. Yep. Yeah.
Can you link?
Newborns. Right. If it's say 0 to 3 months, I could understand when your immune system's not good, but say
pregnant women, that sucks.
2 to 16. Largely asymptomatic.
Okay, you don't have statistics. All right, let's not discuss it then.
Yeah, statistics. Yeah, but vast majority, the vast majority of the scientific data is coming out as newborns for sure. They're susceptible to a common cold.
Yeah,
which is not different than that, right?
Before your immune system pretty strong from their mother.
Depends on the mother, right? It depends on. There's lots of stuff they get.
Does breastfeeding matter for that as well? To keep the immune system strong.
Breastfeeding, vaginal deliveries better.
Right. There's a lot of other circumstances for that.
Than the pop top,
The pop top, yeah.
Breastfeeding's good. The pop top.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for nothing, Mom. Yeah. A lot of American children get formula.
Yeah, the formula, the pop top. So
medical condition when it doesn't because of the immune system can attack the
fair to
zygote?
get 6 to 12 months, your immune system sucks. Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, I
something
think
like
that's
that.
what I understood as well. But we're okay. Again, let's like you just did it, but neither of us are medical professionals. We're only articulating what we've heard.
Yeah, general consensus at this time on the state is that they're largely asymptomatic, whereas older people are it's really hurting.
Yeah, well, anybody with any pre-existing lung issues is the thing, right?
I've got a grandfather in the 90s, and I've got all my aunts and uncles are still around, and they are in their late 50s, early 60s.
All right, Zukius.
And
so it's your responsibility, right? Partially to help them.
Probably my mother. My mother there's 5 kids. Yeah. She has 4 brothers and sisters. My mother's probably in the best health. She's a cancer survivor. She's probably in the best health of all of them, and she's doing pretty good. And like, I'm afraid for those because
still
those are boomers, and not all of them are in the best of health. And our everybody consensus is if they check into a hospital, they will probably not check out.
Right. That's scary for them too. I have to go to the hospital because going to the hospital is. I feel like hospitals are scary inherently, especially if so let's say right now you get sick. It's not COVID, but it's something else. You got pneumonia, which is terrible. Do you want to risk going to the hospital in Italy right now? Is it what does the numbers look like for you going in with pneumonia and then being around a bunch of people who have COVID?
Exactly.
It's going to exacerbate the situation. I mean, that's
exactly.
And that's the problem with the curve, right?
I would say I would say my grandfather, who's still alive, is in his 90s, and three of my aunts and uncles, so my mother and 3 of her siblings have pre-existing conditions, and one's like liver issues. The other one is
Jesus Christ,
heart
Allie,
issues.
Tell your dad to stop driving that freaking bus.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Goodness.
I mean, you can't, right? Like, he's not gonna fucking listen to you. He's 68 years old. He's gonna give a shit what you say.
So
shut up, girl. I was wiping your ass.
That's right. All right? So one of the doctors was presented with that. He says, well, largely the highest affected population is the older generation, and these are more likely to not take the advice of doctors, not take the advice of family, and stay home. They're more likely to not change their habits.
Especially
and the doctor looked straight at the camera and he says, that is not a function of age. That is everybody has that same stupid problem. And to that point, we were just talking 1 hour ago in this stream about not changing your mind, not standing up to scientific, not letting your ideas be challenged, not letting your behavior be challenged by scientific evidence, right? Same stuff. He said, and the doctor had a great point. He says, not isolated. That symptom is not isolated to old people.
This is a problem for everybody.
everybody has that problem.
Nobody likes visiting the doctor, right?
Stay the hell home. Yeah, everybody needs a doctor in their life, right?
Yeah, you should see. I want one of my things going forward for this is I would like to see a doctor more regularly, like just to have a doctor. I wanted to make an appointment with a doctor to see them, and I was literally not allowed to do so because of the virus, right? You can't make appointments right now. Period.
I need to.
That was the first thing that I wanted to do was make an appointment with a doctor, a primary care physician that I don't have. I've never had a primary care physician in my life. Should do. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. I just think about it. I need to message my roommate in college.
Oh really?
The black belt.
Yeah. I knew exactly who you're talking about.
He's like a medical director. I need to message him.
It's not a cultural thing to have here, Boof. Like we can't. Having a primary care physician is fairly rare, I would say. Do you have someone, Blake, that you would?
Yeah.
You do. Do the kids have somebody? Like, you have also insurance.
I always have,
right?
I do. But all my life, as soon as I got out of college, once I got out of university, I left my basically a pediatrician.
Most people are like, is this a me thing? Am I a daft bastard?
Yes.
I don't have a primary. I had doctors in the Army. Does that count?
Right. Well, I picked a.
Okay.
It is you.
I'm just gonna.
But I picked one when I first moved out. When I first moved out to on my own, out of my own hometown, like I grew up in East Houston, and when I moved out of Houston as a youngster and out on my own into a different city, first thing I did was I looked at my insurance, got insurance, looked through providers, got one that was close by, and I went and visited them with just a general checkup, and I found one I liked, found one I didn't like, and I found that the second one I liked, And we did a big physical, big blood workup when I first got out. And he says, yeah, you can come back and do the thing.
Nice.
Whatever. I picked one, and I've
that's pretty scary.
Every city I've done, every job I've done, every city I've done, I pick one and I say, this is going to be the one, and I'm going to go personally meet him before something crazy happens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That he's not surprised when he's not gonna. This person is going to know me when they walk into the ER, and I say, hey, by the way, you're my PCP, right? Primary care physician. Yeah.
Telling people not to have a doc. I just got my annual like 2 weeks ago. My doc is not phased at all by the plague. Calling it the plague. It's not the bubonic plague. What was like the death rate for bubonic plague? Like 50%. If you got bubonic, you died. I mean, you flip a coin, homeboy.
Yeah.
That's when they were wearing masks and putting incense in their freaking noses to get the bad humors out. That's pretty scary, Hap. I mean, we don't the whole thing is so fresh that we don't have good data on COVID. We don't have good testing necessarily. We don't have experience on this. Like as humanity as a species has not had enough time with this to adapt. We will do for sure, right? I mean, we'll get. The whole thing is that we're adapting. Is only 20%? That's way too low, JD. I definitely think it was a lot higher. They literally didn't have any science at all at that time. Because it was flea transmitted and.
Flea on rats?
30 to 90. Wait, are we talking about still bubonic here? Because what is treated? There's no treated in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, treated was you cut off the limb or you get ostracized out of town. Good luck.
I mean, yeah, even amputations were very, it was the Wild West of medical care, basically, right?
Yeah.
You
got demons in your blood, and you should go do cocaine about it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That was like, I mean, and that was a fair treatment, frankly, was cocaine. Cocaine is used as a treatment for a long time. OBGYN. You see, maybe females have more willingness to go to the doctor because they have, a lot more to do with their.
I don't know. I was a single man for a long time, and I was.
You went to the doctor.
Let's go meet the doctor.
That's because you had a million butt scans too, or.
Yep. Yep. The endos.
Yeah. What are they called? Just bleed out. It'll stop the virus from being in your blood because you'll have none. Smiley face.
The colonoscopies. Yeah.
Colonoscopies. Yeah, you've had a Brazilian of those.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them.
Bleaches and bloodletting were fairly common, and they didn't do anything. Like they just made you sick, basically. Could you imagine going to the doctor? Doctor literally does something that makes you worse. It's just like, well, you could be the highest person in the land, and you basically have a kook as your doctor, quote unquote.
Well, I mean,
that's what you figure
at the same time, at the same time, what does a flu vaccine do to you? It makes you worse.
No, it doesn't. Don't say that. It doesn't make you worse. No,
it makes you feel worse temporarily.
I don't even want to go there with, and I don't want to associate vaccine, the term, with feeling worse, period. Because that nonsense that they latch onto, right? You're making me sick. You're not really making you sick. It's like you got an allergy. It's the same thing. It's like you went outside and you got hit with pollen.
Making you have an allergy, so you're it makes you have an allergy, so you're defending against it. But at the same time, yeah. And chemo is very similar.
Something like 50% of the descendants of the survivors of the plague have a genetic mutation that makes them immune to AIDS. I've heard about that before.
Oh, cool.
It's like practice sick.
Practice sick, yeah.
Wow, nice. Chemo kills you and the cancer. You just want to kill the cancer faster. Yeah.
Flu in a weekend or even inert.
I mean, that's what your immune system does too, right? The immune system kills you and whatever's affecting you. You just want to kill it faster. Like that's why your body's like, let's turn the temperature up.
Right.
I'll kill myself.
Your immune system tried to kill you. Last week.
This is the solution. You know that turning the temperature up doesn't even affect the viruses. Like it does not. It's not actually an effective method of defeating the virus.
Right. It does bacteria fine.
Bacteria is great. Yeah,
have a very narrow range where they're good in, right?
But viruses give a crap less. They're really good with the heat.
Gotcha.
It's like the brain's like, let's crank this up a little bit.
Let's crank this up, man.
That'll be a smart thing to do, right? Let's just inflame everything that we can inflame real fast. Let's get the lymph nodes real blown up. Let's start getting the boogers out. I don't know what's going on, but we're doing it.
Let's see if we could redline this shit.
Yeah, it's just like, the body's like, I don't give a shit. Let's go. You get sick, so your body kills you. Thanks, appreciate that. I mean, it works, right? I guess. It just hasn't a response. All right, what are you doing this weekend, Blake?
So hang on, I got two more things for you.
Okay, cool.
Two more things for you. So
I did my stories already, so.
Yeah. So very one other thing I wanted to do this for. Speaking of PAX-East, so Dizzy, I'm doing my knuckle. Dizzy did made a great tweet early
disaster?
March.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he says, I'm really glad I went to PAX-East because it's looking like that's going to be the last convention of the year.
YachtCon got canceled today.
Yep, the swim season might be canceled too with my kids. I'm big into that business.
That might be super sad about that booth. I legit had him depressed.
May.
It was so sad.
SGDQ is May.
That's so good. Yeah, I got pushed back, right? And then now we're gonna do COVID relief on an online thing to try to raise money for that. I've already applied for that.
Good.
I will definitely be participating if I can.
Right.
I'm waiting for TwitchCon San Diego to get canceled.
Yeah,
I
agree.
honestly, I think just everything this year is going to get canceled. Like,
I agree.
I think because the reason for that is the social response to this is a lot stronger
the government's not telling.
They're going so
you can't
slow.
have TwitchCon.
Right. Compared to the government's reaction, compared to like federal government, the United States reaction, and like the countries in the European Union and then the UK, fucking weirdos. They're compared to the
society's reaction is so quick compared to the government.
So strong and so I almost want to say over the top, but they've made up their fucking mind. Like they have decided this is a big deal. Right? Like, because I mean, we're seeing the impacts. Like, our friend is coughing, and we're like freaking the hell out, right? We like, do you have any pre-existing conditions? Go to the hospital. Like, it's a big thing. So I don't know what's gonna happen. They're thinking of doing Summer Jam instead, like Jingle Jam, but summer, but still really sucks. Well, and then the concern is that this could be an issue going forward for when they do finally decide to do more conventions. Is Microsoft going to want to show up? Is Crosshair going to want to have their booth? Are indie developers who are putting their life savings to having a booth going to want to do it right after COVID? Or are they going to be like, you know what, maybe let's focus on doing some other things with that money that we could do? Because it's already super, super risky to go to these events, yeah?
Agree.
Like, just as an organization, period. We've talked about, remember... There's so many people, I don't want to call anybody out. There's so many people we've talked to on the floor, and they'd be like, we lose money doing this. Like, this is a huge sink of money for us. And, like, you know what, shit, almost everyone that we talk to, no one's like, I make money going to East. Right? Everyone's like, no, this is a money loss for me.
Money loss.
Like, this is content creators, the developers, like, everybody who's not, like, part of the organization this is a money loss. So is it really going to be a thing for people to do this year or next year even? That they're going to want to take this money loss? I don't know.
I agree. And even then, is East going to say they do East again next year? Is it going to be highly attended?
Shrunk AF, right? Because I don't know that it's a good idea to put your eggs in that basket. Right.
Again, because the normal flu season will roll around again right around that time. And you know who got flu this year? Bing. This dude.
I got flu pretty bad.
Normal flu, right?
Everyone gets... Oh, shit. You know what? I bet we're going to be walking the PAX-East. You're going to go through the security line, and they're like, beep, 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 beep. Okay,
yeah, they're gonna do the thing.
Someone has a fever, you're going to get fucking tackled. You're going to get tased. You're going to get shot to death on the spot.
What they're going to do is they're going to reach for my... No, they're going to reach for my forehead, and I'm going to go, no, rectal.
Just get an accurate tent. That's all I ask, all right? I brought one for me.
No, rectal. So, what we did at PAX-East... Oh, DreamHack's gone, by the way, I think, right? DreamHack is out?
I think they delayed DreamHack Dallas.
Okay.
I don't know if it's been canceled yet. I'm expecting them all to get canceled yet. All right, that's why I took the soon. Normally, I'm like, hey, these are the events I'm going to coming up. I don't have anything in my Twitter handle right now for going to events because I'm not. I don't want to catch COVID either. All right.
I don't catch it either.
I'm turning 22 next year. I don't want to die.
Okay. Okay. So
hazmat suit. Yeah, exactly.
You talked. Okay. Recreate for the viewers. There's
so when
two
I went
parts
to
of the conversation with the DreamHack guy that we had Saturday night.
Two parts. Was it my?
PAX.
I don't want to talk about this.
You recreate one half, and then there's part of the other conversation that you are not aware of that I need to recreate for you. So go ahead.
I don't want to do this. I was kind of mean. I was very frank with that person, and I'm normally not so frank.
For some reason, this guy was saying, "Hey, let's talk to Badger or whatever."
And I was like, "Why?"
Badger got really prickly really quick for some reason, and the whole day the whole weekend. You're usually, yay, let's go, let's do the thing, let's hug it out. And for some reason, you were done. I think you just wanted to hang out and be alone and hang out with Glurms and Diz. And you weren't in work mode.
Work mode.
Yeah, you were not in work mode. You were in hangout mode. Just leave me alone type of thing. Because it was a long ass day. It was so long.
All the days were long.
And you've had 3 days of stressing about the goddamn backpack.
Dude, that backpack, that was most of PAX-East for me, is working with that backpack.
Yeah, and you had probably 3 ups and downs due to alcohol that day.
Dude, fuck off. Due to alcohol that day, that
Tell
hour.
me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Boof is loving this, by the way. Boof is losing her mind on her stream.
Drinks and sobers and drinks and sobers and drinks and sobers by that point. Yeah. There was probably three sine waves of your sobriety.
I blame Bethesda also because they provided me free drinks for like 3 days for like 9 hours a day.
Yes.
Didn't they think that was a bad idea?
Yeah, for him, yeah. There was a bit wristband. So
I blame them, frankly.
So anyway, you responded to him very weird. And so while you were talking with him and Ryan was right there, I walked up and I was in my it was suit night, so we were in suits. And I was in my suit. You had a gray suit, and I had a black suit on, and I had the black overcoat, remember? And you were talking with him and Ryan. You were in a little threesome there and talking. And
Ryan's like he's like, I got a fire extinguisher, and he's like,
right. And Ryan was going, hey, doing,
Ryan's great
thing,
at that,
right? Ryan's super good, right? So all I do was I lean over your shoulder and I start looking at the guy to say what is going on here because I felt some tensions and I was just taking data. That's all I was.
I mean, we were just talking very candidly.
Yes. So I was there and I was looking straight at him. I looked kind of at his body and his body language, looked at his hands.
And he wanted to be there and talk to me. I mean, I was being honest with him.
Right. So
maybe I was being a jerk. I don't really know.
So then so then that disperses, and then I call the Uber because I was done by that time. I'm going home, right?
Is that?
And you're gonna ride with me.
We did a recap already. I've dumped this.
We never got to Saturday. So I go over and I'm kind of waiting on the Uber, and I stand next to the DreamHack guy, and I go and I said, okay, well now I'm gonna meet him because there was no way for me to jump in and whatever. And I said, okay. And I said, hey, man, Blake, and the whole thing, I'm Badger's partner.
Okay, I was going to say, did you introduce
Yeah, I said, by the way, I'm Badger's partner here. Yeah, did you meet him? And he goes, oh, yeah, hey. And he says, you're his partner. I said, yeah, we're business partners. We do podcasts together. I'm a Twitch partner also. A partner. And he said the word partner 60 times.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, yeah. He says, oh, I thought you were his bodyguard.
Nice.
He says,
nice.
I either thought you were. He says you kind of look like you work with Homeland Security, or you were his bodyguard because the way you looked at me, you look like you were about to kick my ass. and this dude was at least 14
he's super
inches
big.
taller.
Yeah, I would not
he was
fight
a big
that
old
guy.
dude.
I would run.
Right.
I would not fight him.
And think about it. I was in a suit.
Uh-huh.
I was in I was in a trench coat.
You were there. I just like the idea that someone thought I had a bodyguard. And
yeah,
I guess I kind of do.
I knew you'd like this story.
I kind of do. I think I have. I mean, like, if someone were to like come at me and try to punch me, there would be like 4 people who would jump in. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't need to do anything. You know?
You wouldn't need to.
Like
right.
it would just be like I feel like Glurms would be in there. Disney would be getting in there. Like there'd be like, the person would get beat to they get stomped on the ground. I wanted to be like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get that guy beat to death.
You kind of did have at that point. They were all it was your crowd. It was your guys.
Yeah, I was in that area. It was like that.
Yeah,
the Clown Mafia.
Yeah. But I
had a little plastic earpiece. You could do that.
I had all the looks. I did. And think about it. I had my gloves. I had my gloves, right?
Right. Yeah.
I had my trench coat.
You were probably
and I had
packing.
A suit,
I mean, it's concealed carry in Boston.
All I did was look in there. I didn't make any motions. I just looked, and I looked him in the eyes, and I looked at his hands, the kind of his shoulders, and then I kind of did one of these, like
just save the backpack. I'll be fine. I'll heal from whatever.
I kind of look like that. I just kind of.
I honestly could not imagine getting into a fight at East. Like there was just never a tense enough situation that someone was going to hit somebody.
There in all of the conventions that we've gone to, there was I can't think of one very tense.
Now kiss you two.
Where tempers got a little and nothing really got out of hand. Right?
I'm a pretty high tension person. I feel like I make people around me. Yeah, fuck you. Okay.
You're wound up a little tight.
I'm like a spring. All right. I think
sometimes.
that does rub off on people, but still, I don't think that there is enough.
I had my normal specs on. I had my specs on because I didn't have a contacts in, so I had my thing. but I had my normal specs on, and I just had glasses, and I was looking at him, and I just kind of took in. I probably eyeballed him for about 60 seconds, and I just looked at him.
That was enough for him to. Oh, I thought you were just bodyguard.
Yeah, I thought you were his bodyguard.
You can be if you want. I'm gonna get you a little plastic earpiece that doesn't connect to anything.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun. You and Ryan walking around.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So you didn't hear that one. Okay, so then the following day, Badge sleeps in. I wake up early, and I get on to.
I was up really late that night too.
Yeah. So I sleep pretty good. I NyQuil up because I'm kind of feeling a little weird. And
so Sunday morning, it was
Sunday morning. This is Sunday morning.
So
I wake up.
Really weird for me. Sunday morning was.
It was. So 10 a.m. is my flight on Monday, the next day, and it is 9:15.
Super early on
and
Sunday.
I'm not feeling good. And it's a cancellation within 24 hours. So I am within like 30 minutes of having to make a decision to either check into the flight and commit to it or change. And I start looking up. I was like, I'm not feeling bad. I can get to the airport today. I can get the thing out of here, and I can get out, and I can get home and sleep in my own bed because I'm kind of feeling a little weird, right? Because you were
feeling weird last night, the night before.
I was feeling a little weird Saturday, a little weird Saturday night, and I woke up, and then I was a little sick, right? So then I just said, look, because if I let it go on, the cough thing had kind of already started. There's a cough symptom with COVID. So here's the stages of allergies are sore throat, runny nose, cough, in that order, in that sequence, right? Because your drainage and all that business.
Drainage.
Saturday night was a little sore throat.
Drainage.
Sunday was a little bit of runny nose, and I knew Monday was going to be a cough.
Okay. And
I did not want to cough on the goddamn plane because I'd be that guy.
So it's interesting that you kind of had the foresight to not want to get quarantined, basically.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know what this guy's sick with. Let's just you can wait here for 24 hours. It's not a big deal.
Because what I can do is I can hide,
please.
I can hide a tissue and kind of.
Yeah, you get some bogeys. Having some bogeys is pretty normal.
I can kind of do that.
That's more associated with allergies. I think coughing was such a big red sign, right? Or
yes,
red flag.
That's your number one symptom is your dry cough, right? Fever and dry cough, right? So, so I said, all right, I'm gonna book it. It was $150 to swap. Done. Let's do that. So I got home. So the problem was, Badge is asleep.
Right.
And I need to wake him up. And how did I wake you up?
My feet. Like
your
a smarty.
Feet.
And did I
like
start
a smarty pants.
when you woke me up?
You jumped.
Yeah, you jumped. That's how I wake up. It's like I wake up every time. Okay, but yes.
So here's the thing. So for soldiers specifically, but for anybody, it's a good idea.
Google this, guys. All right.
Google this.
This is a. When I came home from Iraq, I was given this pamphlet to give to any one of my loved ones to show them how to appropriately approach me. Like it's.
Yes. So I put my hand on the side of one of Badger's feet, and I just rubbed his foot just like this.
Did you?
Just like that. Yep. I just kind of rubbed the top of your foot, just like this, and you went and woke up, which made me really glad I wasn't standing over your face.
Yeah, there's a bad plan to be standing over my face. My hands shoot out when something's over.
Well, you had two hands down and you popped up, like you kind of did a push up, and you were straight up, sitting up.
Staring you dead in the fucking face.
And you looked straight at me.
I was like, yes.
Said, what's going on? And I said, hey, buddy. And I said, hey, man. You okay?
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I was super proud that I remembered to wake you up by your feet. And you always wake Badger up by his feet. You never, no shoulder, don't stand over. No, don't stand over him. Bad plan.
You'll be fine. I've never hurt anybody, so.
Right. But at the same time, just for everybody.
For you. Fucking hey, don't even risk it.
Yeah. Not for Badger. This is for you. Help you out. And so it was about 9:30 when I made my flight switch, and then I just turned over to Badger. I kind of packed up, right? I had my suitcase ready to go, and I was walkout ready. I was going to try and let you wake up on your own we'll give it as long as until I was leaving, because I didn't want you to wake up to an empty room.
Sure, yeah. That makes sense.
And so I just said, okay, well, I'm walkout ready.
Yeah,
so
he was like ready, like he was leaving. He was like, okay, bye.
I was walkout ready. Yeah,
the look on his face, by the way,
my kids is walkout ready. That means you're ready to walk out.
Okay, sure. So it's
walkout ready.
I feel like I have terms like that for my dogs. Due to pee-pee?
Yep.
On the outside, at the dog park. Walkout ready.
Yep. Walkout ready.
So I'm awake, and I vividly remember Blake's face, and he's got his suitcase in his hand, and he's explaining to me that he's leaving. I'm feeling sick. And he tells me everything that he just said, basically as clear and concise as he could do. I remember the sick look on his face. And also Blake doesn't like bow out of things unless he's got to make this call. So I didn't there's no pushback from me.
There's no pushback at all.
It was like, okay, sure, you made this.
Okay.
This is fine. Yeah, I understand.
All right, good.
This decision.
Yeah, made a decision. That was it.
Throw
and
something
then,
at me. That's a good plan, JD.
It was actually a really good plan. Yeah, far away and throwing something at me.
Water gun. Water gun might make me mad.
Yeah,
right?
it'd make him mad.
I'll be like, I just woke up. I don't know what I did to his face.
Right. Foot rubs.
I'll get away with it. Okay, I promise.
Right. And foot rubs. That won't make him mad.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't know. I know that you were at my feet when I woke
Yeah.
up, but I wasn't sure how you even woke me up.
Yeah, it was a top of the foot rub. I didn't want to do the bottom because those are reflexes, right? I just kind of said, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah, sure. Good plan, Blake. It was really weird. It totally threw me off. Like
I know, because I never wake you up.
To not have you there for that day. Also,
yeah,
it was
but think about this: how many times have I ever intentionally woken you up? Until that point, zero. In all of the hotels we've stayed at, all the conventions we've been at,
yeah.
I've never had to wake you up. You've never really had to wake me up either.
No, wouldn't do. If you were sleeping, I'd let you sleep. Let sleeping dog lie there.
Same thing. I'll let you do your thing.
Hey, can I rub your feet? Yes, you can, Santa.
This was the one time that I, in addition to Sergeant Griffin,
Yeah.
Griffin, Sergeant Griffin.
Yeah. What about
Sergeant Griffin?
Wash your hands.
hands.
Yeah. Okay.
William,
This is how I want to
I
hold your hand.
can't use you if you're sick. Wash your hands.
This is what I want. This is what I want from you, Chad. All right.
Yes.
It's like, I don't think Blake can see this actually, because he's got the different.
I can't.
Hands. This is how I
tip
want to
that,
hold your
yeah.
hand.
Yeah, just a little
Yeah?
feet.
You guys want this?
All right.
Look at this hair, by the way.
Right. What is that? What is that? Sips. Yeah, it's Sips' face.
Yeah, Sips.
Good.
Sips emotes are so expressive, actually.
They're very, very good. All right, so this week.
It's 11:37 for Booth right now.
Yeah, this week we've got biter battles and all of the stuff we just did. That'll all be out on my YouTube. Did you know that I put out 6 videos last week?
Nice.
6 videos on YouTube.
Well
one
done.
a week, one a night.
And they probably totaled about 100 views.
Maybe. Hey, content generation.
It's not even about the views it's getting right now. It's getting consistent to that thing.
Consistent.
I know a lot of people
Coming
don't want to get into YouTube at this point, and they have a lot of valid reasons for doing so. It's such a saturated environment. The biggest thing for me though is it's so much easier to watch a hecking VOD on YouTube than it is to watch it on Twitch.
I talked to the guy, member of the Twitch staff, and I said, by the way, I play back VODs on YouTube, and I put out my VODs on YouTube. I do not put them on Twitch. I never leave them on Twitch.
I mean, if it was better on Twitch, it'd be fine. But
and he said, and you know what he said? He said, I don't blame you.
It's hard for Twitch to catch up in that sphere because YouTube has got the lead on it. It's been doing it for years, right?
And they're not stopping. They are continually.
They're making stuff better all the time. Like they're having to deal with this increased influx on YouTube. In fact, because of people are staying at home and they need content. And YouTube has such long form content that it's extremely good for periods of time where you're stuck at home. Okay, all right. What do you got going on this weekend? Next weekend for me. Oh, sorry,
so this week is Factorio, bunch of stuff. I'm gonna do a speed run and get down to that. I did have one of the things that I have some information for you off air that I will tell you that is related to this. But I have I have a new server. I'm switching over to our buddy's server company, Nodecraft.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'm ditching Creeper Host. I'm switching over to Nodecraft, and the first thing to do was hook up Twitch interaction to my Factorio base. So subs and bits and all that drop grenades on my base.
Nice.
And we had a really fun time earlier this week. We had a great time doing that this week.
Nice, very cool.
So we're gonna do some more of that. That was super fun. And then at some point when we get that base done, we get that little drill done, we're gonna set up a big biter battle on that Nodecraft server. It's gonna be so much fun.
Nice, that sounds awesome.
So that's what I've got going on. That and so those two things in speedrun, I think I'm done with the Ribbon World. That and YouTube and biter battles. We have another 2 weekends worth of biter battles. We're gonna do that, and keep on keeping on. So a lot of fun. What do you got going on?
Cool. Next Saturday will be my 5-year content creation celebration. We'll
Started
be doing
March
it for
23rd.
March 14th, March 15th,
March 14th.
Something mid-March, very mid-March.
Mid-March.
So we're gonna do a big celebration. We'll have some punishments. We might do some push-ups. We'll do some Bean Boozle. We'll do some Malic Acid. Maybe we'll give away a couple things. I'll be planning on that. I'll be talking about it. We'll probably just be chatting and playing Terraria, basically. I'm going to be doing Calamity playthrough, I decided. So we're going to do modded Terraria. finally, after millions of years of me saying no to doing it. Yeah. So look forward to Calamity playthrough.
Badger, why don't you do monitor area?
You can make me. All right, I'm doing it finally. Jeez, so much pushback on that. So we'll be doing that. I don't think I have too much else besides those two. Those are pretty big things for me. I'm probably going to be streaming like every day this week. If I'm going to be doing therapy this week, it's going to only be video call. So I won't have that this Thursday.
I had a question for you. I did have that question for you.
I don't really want to go into the office in the first place. I also don't want to be around anybody. I don't want to be in a confined room with my doctor. So I don't want to get them sick. I had the flu anyway, so I don't want to. Yeah, that's a thing. So yeah, I'll be doing streams a lot. Noon CDT, 6 p.m. GMT. I'll be streaming pretty much every day probably. I want to capitalize on people being stuck at home. I guess we didn't talk about this much, but I feel like there's a big weight on content creators' shoulders right now all over the world to be there for their audiences. And I'm going to try to do my best to be there for you all.
Do that. Either provide distraction and provide sober advice to people who are panicking.
So I'm just avoiding it in my channel. Mine's just gonna be distraction.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not talking about it at all. Totally. Really? I don't know if you've noticed. I haven't tweeted about COVID at all. I've only said the word one time, but I put an R. I haven't done anything with it at all, and I won't be. I won't be touching it. All right. I only want to do positive stuff. I don't think there's a whole lot for me to say really. Okay. Cool. Right. Let's find someone to raid.
Hey, let me leave. Yeah, you find someone to raid. Let me leave you with this. Hey Blake, this is from my doctor buddy. I just texted him while we were here.
Oh, good.
He says, "What a crazy world we live in right now."
Holy moly! Virat, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. 51% sure you just wasted your time.
Thank you.
You get access to the 51% sure emote. When you're 51% sure about something, that's a pretty good amount. That's good enough.
So this is my college roommate who went on to be a doctor, and he's like assistant medical director at his hospital. And he says, "Hey Blake, what a crazy world we live in right now. If you told me 10 years ago that Donald Trump would be president and the world would be under siege from a pandemic, I would have thought you were crazy. You be safe yourself and take care. Come and wash your hands."
Well, yeah. Well, that's what the doctor had to say.
That's the doctor.
That's
that's my buddy.
That's,
black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Wash your hands. Let's end with that today rather than stretch.
Yeah. Stay safe and wash your hands.
Yeah. Let's raid Jazzy Wazzy.
Let's do it.
If you guys want to come on the raid, I'd appreciate it. We can just do Twitch raid, copy paste that a bunch, or do TVG Gun if you have mine, and you can do Clown Cannon if you have clowns. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it a lot. Stay safe. Seriously, stay motivated. That's the most important thing. If you're motivated, you can do anything, no matter what anybody tells you. Keep being awesome. That's the easy one because you're awesome. And remember, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.